What is a founder? Either they're the happiest people you've ever met or the most miserable people you've ever met. Hi, my name's Gary Axamit. I'm a coach for founders and investors on business plan ideation and risk and execution in the world of black swan events. These are only my opinions, so take it for what it's worth. Follow me on YouTube or TikTok for more content. So what is a founder? It's either the happiest or the most miserable person you've ever met. We'll get into it a little bit later, dive deeper into founders, but there is a common denominator amongst all founders. And I've noticed that over the years that founders tend to have personality glitches, which force them into being self-employed and force them into being risk takers because they have a difficult time dealing in society in general. But let's get into it. So, you know, as a founder, you're always going to be broke. Okay? Founders live in the world of deferred gratification or delayed gratification. It's just the nature of the beast. That's why you see entrepreneurs, you know, they'll be driving a $5,000 car and all of a sudden one day they hit the home run and they're driving, you know, a Mercedes G500 or something. This is what life is like as a founder. You may never get married because it competes with your focus and your discipline. You may get divorced or have a spouse that cheats on you because your obsession is embarrassing to them. Been there, done that. You may not buy a home or a new car until you're very, very old because like everything else in your life as a founder, everything's delayed gratification. You're going to have a hard time keeping friends because most people live a 9-to-5 job, a 9-to-5 life, and they're going to find you to be a little bit annoying because you're not going to be able to go on every vacation that they go on because you've got to manage your money differently. There's going to be, as a founder, there's going to be a half a dozen or so professional moments that are going to define your life, and they're going to be glorious moments. For me, I think professionally, I think the top of the game for me was probably either winning a Supreme Court case or, you know, I remember waking up one day and looking at my inbox and seeing an email from an investment banking firm, and I opened it up and there was a $700 million letter of intent. And I was just like, whoa, wow. You know, those moments will have big impacts on your psyche. And this is another reason why you as a founder are going to have a hard time fitting in and blending in the world is because those kind of moments, like I talk about, they create pride, not ego. As a young person, you're driven by ego, but as you get older, you find that you're driven more by pride. Pride in things that you've created, pride in things that you've done. And a lot of people never get to that point. You know, it kind of goes back to that was Tyler Durden or Dearden or whatever in the movie Fight Club. You know, go to work every day to, you know, buy stuff you don't need to impress people you don't like. That's most people. As a founder, you're going to see the world probably a lot different than they will. The other thing is something that I had to learn the hard way, and I really want everybody to listen to this. You know, when I spent 30 years wanting to get to the big table in Wall Street, you know, sitting that, you know, in that conference room 50, 75 floors above Wall Street and, you know, surrounded by guys in $300 suspenders and $1,000 dress shoes and $5,000 suits. And for whatever reason, I guess and with all due respect, Michael Lewis needs to just go fuck himself because his bullshit books that he wrote to glorify Wall Street are just toxic crap. Okay, it's just indoctrination, and I was so freaking stupid I didn't even get it that I was being indoctrinated with, books like Liar's Poker and crap like that. But what really, really devastated me about being a founder is when I got to that level, I didn't realize that nobody else around me had anything in common with me. Everybody around me was just getting a paycheck with a big bonus at the end of the year. They had no risk. They had zero risk. And in fact, they had zero risk to their firm going under, because if they got in money trouble, they'd just get bailed out by the government, as we saw in 2009. And I realized that our mindsets were so far apart from one another. I was left devastated. But what really made me sick is how those people at that level were so envious and so jealous of me for what I was doing, because they weren't. Because they weren't. Man, that one just... we're going to talk about raising capital a little bit later. And I'll just put it this way. If I was raising capital today, I would not go to Wall Street or Silicon Valley. I wouldn't waste my time there. As a founder, those places are just death traps. And, we've talked about lawfare a little bit. I mean, this is really where America is stuck right now, is just stuck in this lawfare doom loop. People try to start companies and they get, the shit beat out of them by the SEC or by the Department of Justice, get served with Wells notices. And most guys that run, most founders that run startups don't realize that a lot of that lawfare that's directed at them is actually being orchestrated by lobbyists for Wall Street who don't like the competition. They want to see the debt paid before you can disrupt any of their industries that they own the debt in. And that's just how Wall Street sees it. They're not innovators, they're not wealth creators, they're wealth accumulators. We're going to talk about that. Big difference.